Welcome to another edition of the TSS podcast, brought to you in association with Luke 1977 and Bowden and Dolphin, with your hosts Rob Carless from Bob's Books and the legend that is Shaun Teale. He's here, there, and everywhere, and he's Tealey Saying Something.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the TSS podcast, also known as the Tealey Sayin Something podcast. I cannot believe we're talking about the fifth one that we've done. It really is going well, and we're getting to a nice routine of these shows, so it's really good. So, Mr. Teale, Mr. Shaun Teale, how are you doing on this beautiful, warm Thursday night?
Well, it might be warm where you are. It ain't warm up here.
I was going to say, well, it won't be warm up by where you are. You're a northerner.
It's been absolutely bucketing down all afternoon.
Have you had a barbecue?
But yeah, no shirt on in the rain.
That's it. Yeah, having a couple of tinnies.
That's the one.
Got to be done. And of course, we've got our producer, the man who puts the magic together for us, Mr. Chris Browne. How are you tonight?
I'm fine, thank you. Yourself?
Yes, I'm very well, very well. I see your beer's coming on again.
It is, yeah, I'm having another go.
Yeah, not quite as good as mine, but there you go. Teale, it's about time the Tosh come back.
She won't let me grow it back.
Put your foot down. I know she won't let you grow it back. I know she won't. Well, last time we spoke, I was on a secret rendezvous and I went to Copenhagen with Claire for her 50th, and I did manage to get to the airport without giving away where we were going. So she was very grateful and had tears in her eyes when I said Copenhagen. A beautiful place. I don't know if you guys have been there. Probably my favourite European city.
Oh, right. Claire only had tears in her eyes because she realised she was paying for it.
So on that first night, right, I knew that the Scandinavian countries were expensive, but on that first night, we went up because we got there about 3 or 4 o'clock. Went up to get something to eat about 7 o'clock, and we decided to have a drink in the Sky Bar. So it's on the top floor of the really nice hotel. We're up there, bottle of wine, snow's coming down, overlooking Copenhagen. You got all the nice, warmth coming through that they've got on the wood fires and all that. And she said, yeah, that's okay. And then the bill come back and it was £81.
For a bottle of wine?
Bottle of wine for £81.
Should have gone to Aldi.
Well, let's put it this way. For the next 3 nights, we went to the local supermarket and, and we bought 3 or 4 for like 40, 50 quid, which was expensive, but at least it wasn't £81. So
I can imagine your face when you got that bill.
I offered to do the washing up, but I don't think they understood what I was trying to say to them. And it wasn't even the best wine I've ever tasted. But there you go.
You should have said to them, you can't charge Father Christmas 81 quid.
Do you know what? About 4 or 5 times today I've been called that.
I bet you have.
Yeah, and every single one of them I say, well, that's new. I've not heard that one before.
Was that coming up with the A40 on your reindeer and you said?
Listen, it's me that takes the piss, not you, all right? Just remember that. Right, so we've had the the weeknight games. I don't know if I've ever done that correctly. Where
the midweek games
and Villa have played at home.
Yeah.
Okay, was you there last night, Shaun?
I certainly was, yes. Yeah.
Any good?
We were back to our old selves in the first half. Certainly, we were back to that sort of slow, quick goal type thing that we had at the start of the season. And then second half, we had a couple of real early chances, and then they nicked one back, and it was like, oh dear. And
yeah, I got that from watching on the TV.
All the calmness went completely out the window, and it was pandemonium for 10 minutes. And then once they didn't really get another decent shot on goal, it sort of went back. It reverted back to where it was, reverted back to type for the first half, and it was all good.
Yeah, it's a much needed win, wasn't it? Much needed.
Especially with them coming to us and then Southampton coming to us on Saturday. To get the 6 points will just push us back in there And it'll also give the lads confidence, because you could tell over that 7-game period that the confidence was draining out of us game by game.
Yeah.
Special mention for Big Tyrone.
Yeah.
He was the biggest difference last night. Stuck his head on everything, got a foot on everything. You know, he has his issues. You know, he does make the odd mistake, Tyrone, but you know, for the odd mistake, give me that every day, because you know, as an out and out defender, he's the best defender we've got.
Yeah. The only thing that I don't like is, I know he's prone to mistakes as well. I love Pau Torres. So, you know, do we go, if we're going to play the three of them, do we go three at the back?
Personally, if I was the manager and that's who I had available, I'd definitely play them three at the back.
Yeah.
I'd probably play Torres in the middle, because he's the ball player. So he can get the ball off Emmy and set us on route. And then he's got a bit of pace both sides of him then. I mean, Pau's biggest problem is his lack of pace. You know, he gets found out with one ball over the top, and it's happened too often this season.
Yeah. I'll tell you the madness of the Premier League at the moment. So I, obviously, being the armchair supporter I am these days, watched it on Amazon Prime, because they've had all the games. And I have to say, I think the coverage has improved quite a lot with Amazon. I've quite enjoyed it this week. But the madness of the Premier League, and I cite Newcastle for that. So Newcastle started the day about 11th, right? And, you know, you can see where you know, after a goal scored, you can see how the table looks on your phone and things like that. So Newcastle went from 11th to 6th, and then finished in 11th place again. It's absolutely crazy. At one stage, we were back in the top 6, but I think their Brentford's goal gave the goal difference better for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
So it's all to play for, mate. It's all to play for.
Oh yeah, because if you look at it now, you know, City have had a win, so they're back on it a bit. You know, an easy 3-0 win against Forest, and Forest have been doing really well, but sort of really stuttered over the last 3 or 4 games. And the only team that hasn't really stuttered at the moment is Liverpool. And I suppose if getting a punch at Newcastle is a stutter, then it's not a bad one.
I must admit, I don't know. Obviously, you guys were at the matches last night. We'll come on to you in a minute, Chris, for your game. But I thought we were going to go for another classic 4-3 game, you know, like we did in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
The Newcastle game, it was, you know, it was topsy-turvy. And I thought, we're going to get one of those classics again.
I watched the highlights when I got in last night, and it was definitely one of them types of games that it could have gone either way at any time.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll come on to Liverpool in a bit, because that's one of the topics that we're going to be speaking about. So we'll do that one. But Chris, you was at St Andrews last night.
I certainly was.
Watching you beat Stockport. I think that was a bit of a statement win for you guys, in fairness, because I said to you a couple of weeks ago on this show, I fancy Stockport to be in the top 6, you know, in the run for the playoffs. And I don't know if I'm basing that purely on the fact that that our Louis Barry is there at this moment in time. But that was a good win for you. Like, I didn't expect it. I had both teams to score, actually, in my ACA, so I was a bit disappointed that Stockport didn't get at least one. But he didn't really turn up for the game, you were telling me earlier.
No, not really. I was a bit disappointed. He actually was a bit of a headless chicken at times. No, he didn't turn up, basically. He was very poor, I thought, very poor, and Blues fans made sure that he knew about it.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Oh, they loved it.
Do you think it affected him? And do you see a Premiership player there?
On last night's performance,
no chance.
No. But yeah, I suppose nerves could have played a part, but this guy's I know he's only young, though, isn't he? He's only young.
Well, he is. I think he's about 21.
21, he's a professional, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very true.
Not supposed to, these things aren't supposed to affect you, are they?
Yeah.
But they are something.
And, of course, the Blue Noses would have taken it easy on him.
Oh, of course, yeah. Every touch.
Well, you know, if he wants to be a top player, he's got, you know, some of the atmospheres you have to play in the Premier League are worse than that would have been at the Blues last night.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, so, you know, you've got to have broad shoulders, and you've just got to take it on the back and get on with it.
And let's face it, the player that has done that over the last 10 years has been Jack Grealish. He's and obviously we know what happened to him in that 1-0 game, but it's been he did get pelters, didn't he? Proper pelters.
Yeah.
And he shrugged it off and did it. But yeah, a lot of Villa fans pre last night's victory were saying on social media that we need to bring him back. But I think the plan with him is to loan him out again in January, and this time at a Championship club as opposed to League One. Yeah. Now, whether or not I can see where Unai's coming from there. He wants to see him at a better level before he brings him back into the fold.
Well, I mean, he played a few preseason games, didn't he? And he looked off it playing with Premiership players. So, Unai's obviously looked at it and gone, well, he needs experience. He needs to be playing week in, week out, which, thankfully at Stockport he is. And his stats are top class at Stockport. But obviously the next step is to build him up. So the Championship's next. So if they bring him back and then send him out to the Championship, we'll see where he sits then. Yeah,
very true. Very true. And what Chris hasn't said about last night's game, Shaun, every time he laughs when I talk about you and your ambassador role and getting all these freebies, things like that. Guess he was in the padded seats last night watching the game, eating all this American food free of charge. Guess who?
Well, it must have been Chris.
Oh, come on, I was a guinea pig. They opened this new lounge and asked me if I wanted to participate in, and go in and sit in and eating this food. I had to think about it. I thought, yeah, okay, I'll give it a go.
So it was American platter.
It was an American platter consisted of a beef burger that was as big as your head.
Oh my God, that is big.
Basically.
Like huge.
Yeah, massive, yeah, not as ugly. And and a big plate of ribs, which were absolutely gorgeous. Really nice. And of course, then you went out to your padded seat. And on your way out to the padded seat, they give you a big bag of sweets and chocolate cookies and things.
I don't see any of them in the studio, Teale.
No free drink, unfortunately.
No free drink?
No free drink. Coffee, cold coffee, £6 a pint. You know what I mean? Is that standard now?
Yeah, I think it is standard. I think that, to be honest with you, I think that's pretty good.
Is it £6?
Yeah, from what I've paid in the past.
Yeah. But it was okay for the occasion. But I mean, if I'd have had to pay, I'd have been a bit disappointed. 150 quid a pop.
I can imagine. And something else, that's the second time this season that both Villa and Blues have played on the same night.
Yeah, I didn't even know Villa were playing last night.
I didn't know you lot were playing, in fairness. But what is good is that I've heard no reports of any incidents, in and around the stadiums or in town.
No, I don't think so. Did Brentford bring many?
No. Very, very few.
I heard it was in the hundreds. Is that right, Teale?
Yeah. Well, if there was 300 there, you'd be lucky.
Yeah.
I think Stockport brought a few. I don't think they sold out entirely, but it was very close to 1,500, 2,000.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a big day out, isn't it? So,
Who for? Right, let's get on to our first topic of the night then. So we mentioned Liverpool a couple of minutes ago when we were looking back at what's happened. I think it's fair to say that that Arnie has slotted in. Do you like that one, guys? Mm-hmm. Very well at Liverpool. Mm-hmm. Okay, I've been practicing that one all day, Teale.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I've heard it before.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I've been practicing just to make sure I get it right. But there you go. Right. So, what I want to discuss is the impact that he's had at Liverpool. But let's just run through, and this is a stat I couldn't believe straight away. Let's just run through some of the stats on Arend Martin Arnie slot. Right? No doubt I've said that completely wrong. And when I talk about some of the teams he's played for in the Netherlands, I won't be able to pronounce their names properly as well. Right, but he was born in 1978. I thought he was older than that.
Yeah, correct.
He's 14 years younger than me.
Really?
40.
14.
Oh, right, okay.
I tell you what, he must have had a big paper round.
Yeah, but the thing is, Holland is flat, isn't it? He wouldn't have been going up and down a lot on that paper round.
It must have been long then.
So I couldn't believe that. But right, so I'm going to just read this off what I printed off because I'm old-fashioned. So he played as a midfielder, and this is the first time I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it wrong, for FC Zwolle. So it's spelt ZWOLLE. So it's FC Zwolle. Why couldn't he play for Ajax? I don't know. I can say that. So he won the Eerste division. I presume that's the top division. I do apologise for all our listeners in Holland on this one. In 2002, and he also played for NAC Breda, and I can say this one, Sparta Rotterdam. Before he retired back as a player at PSC Zwolle, where he won another Eerste division title in 2012.
That's tickled you. That
he has. I should have practiced this more, to be honest with you. Right, so he started his managerial career in the academy at PSC Zwolle and as assistant at a club called Cambuur, before taking over as co-head coach at the latter. In 2017, he became an assistant at AZ, where he was appointed head coach in 2019. And since then, he became the head coach of Feyenoord in 2021, and he led the club to the 2022 UEFA Europa Conference League final in his first season. If I'm correct, that is when Roma beat them, but I could be wrong on that one. They've also won the first division and the KNVB Cup, which I presume is something like our FA Cup, which is another topic that we'll get onto a bit later. But first question for you on this one, Teale, is before we get onto his managerial style, according to one of his teammates, Slot behaved like a coach at PSC Zwolle in his final years as a football player. So in the latter years, he played as a coach. Did you recognise that quality in some of the players that you played with in the latter years of theirs? In other words, he could tell he was going to be a coach. Could you tell with some of your players?
No, and I'll tell you why. The pathway to being a coach for players after sort of 2000, totally different to what it was when we were at Villa. So when we were at Villa, we were never asked, do you want to go and start doing your badges while you're still playing? Nowadays, they all start while they're playing. So by the time they've finished their career, they're A-licensed coaches before they finish their career. So, they're sort of, that's how the game's evolved. They're sort of way ahead of where we were. We had to basically go to the PFA and beg for them to put us into a coaching badge. And if they paid for it, you were lucky. So, whereas I think when it goes through the clubs, because they want players obviously to have a career after, so it makes sense to put as many of the senior players as they're getting to maybe to within 5 years of the end of the career to start doing the badges, and then they can look to go on from there in a different capacity.
Yeah. I guess really the question I wanted to ask there, and perhaps I didn't make it clear, is it's quite obvious that his teammate, Arne Slot's teammate, noticed that he was behaving like a coach, and I guess it might have been a natural move for him. Could you see any of the players that you had or played with that, it's great going to get your coaches, but your badges, and obviously that's the right way to do it. But could you see the natural coaches from some of the players that you played with?
For me, out of the team I played with, probably two, maybe Earl Barrett, who is coaching. He went over to America. He's been over in the States probably 6-7 years now coaching. And maybe the only other one would have been our captain, Rico, who did go into coaching after he finished playing at Coventry. I think he went and coached at Newcastle for a while. Probably the one I never saw coming was Dean Saunders, because obviously Dino became assistant to Graham Souness at Newcastle.
He did,
So I think he was the one that I didn't really see, because Dino was always the clown. So, you basically thought, he'll go and do something else. And obviously now he's deep into media, isn't he? And a lot of lads either go coaching or go into media, depending, what opportunities they get.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. But now let's look at him as a Liverpool manager. So I'm just going to flick my paper over. Right, so this is some of the records that he's had since he's become Liverpool manager. So apparently in April 2024, it was reported that Liverpool had reached an agreement with Feyenoord for Slot to manage. On 20th of May, he was announced that he would become head coach on the 1st of June. 17th of August, he won his first Premier League match with the club after a 2-0 away win at Ipswich. And then there was a couple of firsts for him. He was the first Liverpool manager since Houllier in 1998 to win his first game in charge. He beat club rivals Manchester United 3-0 on his first visit to Old Trafford. And in his third game as manager, on the 1st of September, he became only the second Liverpool manager to win his first match at Old Trafford, after George Kay in 1936. And then shortly after, he became the first Premier League manager to win his first 6 away games. That is no mean feat. And the quickest Premier League manager to reach 15 wins in all competitions. And talking about all competitions, the top of the Champions League and they're top of the Premier League as it stands. So they are going absolute great guns. What has he done, Shaun? What has he done that's since he's come into the club?
I think when you listen to the players at Liverpool, I think the one thing that certainly comes over is there's more of a calmness about the way they play. It's well documented under Jurgen Klopp that it was sort of 100-mile-an-hour football, and I think he's just got them to play in a slightly different way. Because let's face it, he's got exactly the same players. He inherited every single player. So, but he's just found, I don't know, a bigger calmness in him. I mean, the moving of Ryan Gravenberch into the middle of the park has been nothing short of a masterstroke. He's gone from being a complete bit part player to being probably first on. Well, maybe not first because Mo Salah will be first on the team sheet, but he'll be one of the very first on that team sheet week in, week out, and he makes such a difference to them.
Yeah, it does. I mean, they have become more counter-attacking, haven't they? They've been able to soak up more. As you say, it was 100 mile an hour under Klopp. Take the goals that they scored against us a few weeks ago. We won the attack.
Yeah.
And they brilliantly broke us down and scored the goals. So, I think that's a valid point.
I also think, a lot of, I mean, if I look at Villa and the goals we conceded at Anfield, they'd obviously done their homework, as Crystal Palace did when they came to Villa Park the other week, because both clubs scored from our corners. And it was obvious they knew we were going to push players up. They knew we were going to leave ourselves slightly short at the back. And they played on that in the end. And so as soon as the ball broke out of their box, they were away. And they've got real pace in that team at Liverpool. Mo Salah's as quick as anything.
How old is he now? He's got to be about 32, hasn't he? 32, 33.
32, 33, Mo Salah, yeah. Yeah.
There was a question on one of the radio or TV, I can't remember this week, and they asked a question, and I can't believe they asked this question, and it was, is Mo Salah a legend in the Premier League? Surely it's a yes.
Well, he's got to be, hasn't he?
Yeah.
If he's, for his goals and his assists season after season, he's got to be right up there with the best. Try and think of someone who's had more of an influence on a team. You could probably say Henry at Arsenal had a massive influence on them. But then you go through the rest of the teams and, not to the extent that Mo Salah's had, because his goals do all the talking, his goals and his assists. I mean, the other day, it was an assist and a goal. Newcastle last night, an assist and a goal. He seems to do that week in, week out.
Yeah, I think whether or not he leaves at the end of the season and goes to Saudi Arabia or wherever, he has been a massive player, absolute massive player.
I mean, the only reason he'd go to Saudi, and he doesn't need it, but would be the money, because every single Premiership team would take him tomorrow.
Yeah.
If he was going on a free at the end of the season, he could have his pick of any club in the Premier League. So, I know Saudi want him for different reasons, because obviously he's Muslim, he's Egyptian, and it gives that league a real pickup. Because it's sort of gone a bit stale out there now, hasn't it? It went from being, everybody was going, everybody was earning big money, and then all of a sudden it seems to have plateaued, and nobody really talks about it anymore.
Yeah, very true. Something else you said about him, about Arne Slot at the start of that, we spoke about this with Tony Barton in the '82. He came in as manager and made no changes, and I think that's genius. Because we all know that managers come in. It's like managers in any profession. They come in and they sweep the broom, don't they?
Yeah.
And they put their stamp on it. But what I love about him is that he hasn't done that. I think he's bought Chiellini as the only player, and I don't think he's played him that much. The Italian player.
Chiesa,
sorry, yeah.
Yeah, he's always injured. He
wrote an Italian book as well. Can you believe it?
He made a comment about him, didn't he? That he'd come out and do a training session, and then they wouldn't see him for 3 days because he'd be injured again.
Yeah.
So I think I think they'll offload him pretty quick. I don't think they'll keep him that long. I think he's and there'll be teams in Italy. The only I was listening to a thing about him the other day, and the only issue with him going back to Italy would be wages, because obviously he'll be on a lot more at Liverpool than he will be anywhere in Italy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I mean, he was the only one that they bought. So, he's kept that team going. He's obviously looked at it and thought, I don't need to make changes to the personnel. I need to make changes to the tactics.
Yeah.
And they are sitting very pretty on in both leagues, aren't they?
I mean, in a way, Rob, Unai Emery did more or less the same thing when he came into Villa. He brought very few players in. I think it was his first time in Morgan Rogers.
No, I think I can't.
Or did he bring Tal Torres in before that?
I can't remember.
But so the likes of Kamara and Dougie Luiz and all those were already there.
That's true.
The core of the team, the core of the team that played last night was there before Unai Emery came in.
Very true. Yeah, very true.
So he didn't come in and rashly buy people for silly money. I mean, Morgan Rogers at what, 12 million?
15, I think it was.
A 15 absolute snip.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, they're looking very good. I'm not going to say they're going to win the league yet because it's far too early. We're looking at 5th of December. We've got a good 6 months to go, before we even get to that stage. But they're looking really strong. Chris, what's your view on Liverpool and what they've done since Klopp left?
I'm with you. It's a bit of I think we're all expecting a bit more of a change rather than a continuation, really. But it's a continuation, but better.
It is. It is. Yeah. And is that down to the tactics, like Tealey's just said there before?
Most definitely. This guy knows what he's doing.
He does.
And the thing is with Liverpool, if he puts a foot wrong, you know what I mean? He sets a high bar, hasn't he? Now,
very high bar.
If he puts a foot wrong now, ooh.
But a lot of Liverpool fans that I was speaking to before the season began were saying, "Do you know what? We're in transition.
Yeah,
they've had greatness with Klopp.
Yeah. We don't expect anything straight away.
Correct. So will they take that into consideration, the Liverpool fans? But one thing we got to talk about is obviously they beat Man City on Sunday. 2-0, I think it was.
Yeah. Played them off the park, really.
Absolutely, they really did from the very start of the game. Yeah. They really did. But the modern fan.
Oh, yes.
Right. So for listeners that don't know what we're talking about, I sent the meme over to you guys on our WhatsApp group. Yeah. So you've got a fan. I don't know where he's from. He's got his back, but a fan above him, right, has taken a photo of the guy watching the match on his phone whilst he's in the stadium. Mm-hmm. Now, if you take that into a music contest, that's like the fans that stand there and they're watching the performer through their phone and not watching it whilst it's going on. What is going on with that, chaps?
Yeah.
To be honest, it seems to be becoming a bit of a norm, because there was a video on, and they spoke about it on Talk Sport about 2 weeks ago. Same thing happened at the Tottenham Stadium. There was a fan sat in front on his phone, and in the end, the lad who was taking the pictures of him on his phone tapped him on the shoulder and pulled him about it and says, "What the hell are you doing? You can't do that. You pay your money to watch the game. Watch the game like everybody." And he put the phone away in the end. He was that embarrassed, he put the phone away. But you see, all the South Koreans come over to watch Heung-min Son, and they all watch. A lot of those watch it on the phones rather than watch it live stood in the stadium.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You still get them go into the concourse and watch, have a drink and sit there. And watch
that's been going on for years and years, where people want to have a drink for. I suppose it is. I suppose it's just the modern way of doing it.
Yeah.
That's all the drunken bums want another drink.
Absolutely, especially after watching your performances.
Oh, there's no need to be that.
Come on, that's the first one I've done tonight, and the last one as well. I'll be good to you. It's Christmas. Absolutely. So you talk about the Asian influence there, right?
Yeah.
You've got a player that comes from Asia, haven't you, Chris?
We've got a Yokohama.
Oh, okay, right. Okay. Has that given you more potential marketing in the Far East? Because I mean, there are some great players. Like Sonny's a great player.
I'm not sure that's really happened yet, but it wouldn't surprise me. The guys that are running Birmingham City, they certainly know what they're doing, and they're certainly putting the money in. Really are. Yeah.
I just wonder, Teale, because obviously one of the big things from this year is that the prices have gone up substantially at Villa Park, and we all know the reason as to why they're doing that, as we've got to get a better financial package, if you want, for want of a better word. But do we look at the Far East to look at players? I don't recall us having a Far East player, so a player from the Far East.
I certainly don't remember one, but I don't think that would be a conscious thing. I think it would be if the right player became available at the right time. I mean, Arsenal have got one, Liverpool have got one,
and United used to as well.
Yeah, so I mean, there's quite. Look at Celtic. I think they've got either 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of them getting to that standard now. And I think that's always been a bit of the issue. Are they of the standard of the Premier League? Well, it's proved now that they certainly can be.
Yeah.
And Heung-min Son is obviously the pick of the bunch because he's the most high profile of all of them. And you only have to look when he comes out to do an interview at Tottenham Stadium. Everybody that stays behind to watch his interview are all from Korea. They're all South Koreans. So, and there's hundreds and hundreds of them stay just to watch him do his interview.
So is your guy an influential player down at the Blues?
Oh, crikey, yeah. Yokohama hasn't played as much this last few games, but we've got Iwata, which is another player. There's the other guy as well, Pake. Wow, so there's 3. So
have you found in the crowd that you've got representation from those areas that are obviously interested in their own players?
Most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay, well, that's going to bring you revenue in at the end of the day, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And they do love the football, people in the Far East.
The thing is as well, Birmingham, there's a big Asian community in Birmingham anyway.
Yeah.
So, if as it is, Birmingham City have got a player from Asia and we haven't, then they're naturally going to gravitate to go and watch Birmingham.
Yeah,
which is only a plus for the size of the crowd at Birmingham week in, week out, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Interesting, but I just want the fans to put the phones down and watch the match.
Yeah.
Imagine that. You've got to put it in a bucket when you arrive at the game. Leave your phones in the bucket.
Oh.
I mean, there has been cases of like people taking the knitting, and I'm not me personally. I can't knit, but
I've noticed that'll be the jumper you've got on tonight,
and books as well. Yeah, taking a book to read. Yeah.
There was one. Was it the Forest were playing, and there was a fella in the Forest crowd, and he was actually sat and he read his book the whole game.
Yeah. It wasn't long ago. I remember seeing it.
No.
Yeah, that's right.
I think I've seen that. As long as it's your book, Shaun.
No, I was going to say the fellow wanted to sleep, so he took your book with him.
Yeah.
My books are good for doorstops as well.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, and keeping your tables nice and sturdy.
Talking of books, I see our friend Richard Sidnham was on TalkSport last week.
He was.
Yes. Yeah, he was. Pumping his book. He never mentioned me once, so when I see him, I'll give him a slap around the ear hole.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
We should have.
He's only joking, Rich. Yeah, I did see. Fair play to him.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, it's nice to see. To be honest with you, so
only 4 million listeners.
That's all.
Yeah. I've read his book. I've read his book, by the way.
What do you think?
I have. It's very good. Doesn't mention me enough in it, but there you go.
But he did say that what he didn't want to tread on your toes because obviously we got our book out.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
No, it is very good. I was talking to Kevin Gage because Kevin Gage was working last night at the ground, and I was talking to Kevin because Kevin's in it a lot about his time when Ron came in and how he felt. He wasn't looked after properly and he was just sort of pushed out the door. And to be fair, that's exactly how it was. Those lads that were there, Ian Ormond, Droids, Derek Melton, they were literally just ushered out the door by Ron. He didn't want to know. He just didn't want to know them at all. Yeah. So, the book is very true to life.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he was a journalist before he started writing his books, and he had the insight, and I think he's quite pally with Ron Atkinson. So, it's worked out well for him. But I've enjoyed you want to read his other one before as well, which is Ticket to the Moon. That's a good book. That was the 70s and 80s, the early part of it. And of course, there's that new book.
I know the book.
Yeah.
I think Gabby interviewed him. Yeah, that's right.
It's a good book. Yeah. And of course, you've got my one coming out next year, Sunshine After the Rain, which covers 2009 to 2024.
Oh, right.
So mine is part 3 to Richie's parts 1 and 2.
Is it big enough for a doorstop?
It's going to be. Well, we're selling him in B&Q for that reason. Okay, that's the only place it's going to be sold. No, that's coming on nicely. Thanks for asking, guys.
Brilliant.
Yeah, right.
It was on the tip of my tongue. I was about
absolutely. Yeah. Right, just go back to Liverpool before we move on to our final topic of the night. Can't believe that we are now 43 minutes into this one. It's absolutely crazy. The amount of
drivel.
Absolutely. Right. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So are Liverpool going to win the league and the Champions League?
Most definitely.
You really think that?
I'm not sure about the Champions League, but most definitely the title.
I think they'll definitely go on and win the Premier League. Champions League, no, I don't think they will. I think it'll be someone like Barcelona go all the way this year in the Champions League.
They're playing well, aren't they?
They're a very young team as well. But they've got some really exciting players. So I think they'll be a real big threat. And to be honest, I wouldn't write Real Madrid off either because they'll get in them playoff games and then that's when the competition starts properly for them and you know what they're like.
Yeah, correct. I mean, they lost to Liverpool. I think they've lost about 3 games so far. But obviously, Villa in the final, so it's whoever plays, in that one there.
Hang on, let me just get the laughter.
Imagine us. If that did happen, you'd have 82 and 2025 rammed down your throats every 2 minutes from us. Right, talking of cup competitions, we've just had the draw for the FA Cup third round. I love the third round draw. I think it's because, it's David and Goliath, isn't it? We're all into it. The Championship and the Premier League comes into it. I sit there on the edge of my seat, and every time a Man United is pulled out, or you ask Claire this, I'm going, please not. And when it gets to Birmingham City, I'll go, yes, because I'd love that. Yeah. I would absolutely love that. We've got West Ham and you've got Lincoln.
Mighty Lincoln.
That's right. I wonder if they'll put both of those games on the same day now that we've done 2 of them.
Could do.
But the reason why this year, they talk about the magic of the FA Cup, and that's a tagline that the BBC have had for a few years now. We know that it's not as widely as acclaimed as it used to be. And, we've got the Champions League and all that kind of stuff, and the money isn't there for it. And our rich owners from abroad now, it's not big on their list, and it hasn't been for a few years now. But we really have had the magic of the FA Cup appear for this one. So I just picked out a couple of the games that have been that came out. Leeds versus Harrogate. What a great kind of local derby that is.
Yeah, brilliant.
See the draw on the Beeb.
We were listening to the draw because we were doing a show, obviously, and it seemed a lot of these games seemed to be tailor-made.
Oh,
did you think? I wonder if there's a bit of a fiddle going on here?
Well, what I loved is that the Beeb were at Old Trafford because obviously they're the oldest, but you got all the non-league clubs there, and there was a lot of shouting out yes sort of thing.
Yeah. There's a few quid going to be made for a lot of clubs in this round.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Right, so you got Leeds Harrogate, Newcastle versus Bromley.
Brilliant.
That's a journey and a half, ain't it, for Bromley?
No.
But I mean, great for them because you know that the Geordies are pack out. As it's a 50-50 split, that's great for Bromley. Man City versus Salford, what a game.
Local derby?
Yeah.
Absolutely. What a game that'd be. Chelsea versus Morecambe.
Yeah.
Arsenal,
and let's face it, Morecambe need the money.
They do need the money. They do need the money. And then you got the big guns come out. And here's the first part of the quiz I got for you two tonight. Right, so we've got a remake of the Arsenal versus Man United. Right, final. I'm talking about the 70s one. Yeah. Right. What year did Arsenal play Manchester United in the 70s?
Was it 76?
Teale?
77.
You're both out, but you are closer, Teale. 79.
Really?
Yeah, 79. Okay. 76 was Southampton versus Manchester United. Southampton were a second division team then.
All right.
Right,
there's another couple of big games as well. If you think about it. Tamworth and Tottenham.
Oh, and I'm going to come. Will you stop it? Let me get to that one.
He hasn't read
the script.
Where was you in rehearsal?
Yeah, where did you get? You didn't get the memo, did you? That's what it was. Right, so
he doesn't send me a script.
Forest are playing Luton. I'm pretty sure that's been an FA Cup final, and I've got 1959 in my head.
It's Luton.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
FA Cup.
FA Cup.
Not league.
No.
Of course, what do you do?
I've got it down as with Forest in my head. I've got it down. Have a quick look.
I'll have a quick look. So,
Mr. Google, the man who wins all the quizzes. Have you noticed that, Shaun? Because he's there.
No, I don't treat it at all.
Absolutely. I can see him doing it right now, but obviously I've asked him to do this one. I'm pretty sure the 1959 final was lit.
I wasn't born.
So it was, you were spot on.
59.
59. Yeah.
God,
yeah,
I should write books.
Yeah.
Should write. And of course, the big one, as Teale just spoke about there, great for the Midlands as well. Tamworth versus Spurs.
Brilliant.
And there's one other.
Go on.
Liverpool, Accrington Stanley.
Exactly.
Who were they?
You know what I mean, like.
Shouldn't those two be playing in the Milk Cup? Okay, all right.
Oh no!
I had to get in there, did. Yeah, what a great game.
Brilliant.
But for us in the Midlands, the Tamworth versus Spurs game.
Do you think Tamworth would have loved it more at Tottenham?
I think the chairman would have.
Oh, crikey, yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine that payday.
The chairman would have, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah. And you know what? Now that there's no replays, right? Should the that it's going to keep Tamworth?
Yeah.
They got what the guy at the Lamb? They've got 5,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know? And let's face it, it's got to be on the TV.
Let's go. Yeah. It's not going to be. It wouldn't have been a replay anyway.
I mean, Spurs straight away.
To be fair, do you not think there's an argument for a fixture like that for Tamworth to have the choice of whether they stay at home or go away? That's
a great point. Yeah.
Because obviously, go to Tottenham Stadium, you're going to get at least 60,000 in there, if not more.
You're going to get, you'll be able to rob the shops in Tamworth that day because there'll be nobody working in them.
Yeah. Well, there is that.
The whole of so they'll take 10,000, 15,000 down there.
Exactly.
But you know what? rather than patronising these clubs, right, which I could have easily got into that mode there, and we could have, Teale, you've hit it, the nail on the head there. They should have the choice.
Yeah, definitely. Accrington Stanley will be made up that they're actually at Anfield because of the gate receipt.
And Harrogate at Leeds.
Bromley
at Newcastle.
Because they're guaranteed full houses.
Yeah. Or maybe couldn't I mean, switching the ground, maybe wouldn't that be another alternative as well? Switching the ground to another local, maybe at Villa Park.
Like we used to have the old semi-finals and all that. I don't know.
I think it'd be great for Tamworth.
Let's say we're a Tamworth fans, right? You've got this draw. It's fantastic. You can have 5,000, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Could be more, could be less. I don't know. Right? You could have that there. But I've got the chance of going to the best stadium in the Premier League, right? Yeah. And I can say that because I've been there.
Yeah.
it is amazing.
I have not been.
Yeah, honestly, it's amazing. I went to see Tottenham play Middlesbrough in the FA Cup actually. So it wasn't with Villa. So I was in the home end.
Right.
And it was just absolutely amazing. You're on the concourse, your drinks are ready for you, the food is outstanding, and you're not even in the the padded seats.
Right.
And you walk onto the concourse and you've got these massive glass doors, so you can see the shape of the stadium, and you've got people there dressed up properly, and they open the doors for you.
You mean, when you say properly, you mean like better than you?
Well, absolutely better than me.
I'm just trying to picture it in my mind.
Twice now you've taken the...
No, I'm just trying to picture it.
To be honest, Chris, that red robe never goes down well at any ground.
Oh, God, this is so funny. This is so funny. Right, so the magic of the FA Cup has come back this year. Yeah. Whether or not there was fixes, I don't know. I'm not going to go down that route. But I just love the way that, these clubs... And, that is a really good point. These clubs should have the choice.
Of course, yeah.
Your chairman is going to go yes straight away, and if it keeps them in financially astute for a few years, it's great.
Yeah.
So, and I'm pretty sure that they'll put it to the fans. Like I just said, if we're Tamworth fans now, we don't want to. We want to go to that Premier League ground.
Yeah.
20,000 of us.
The other good thing about the draw is the cup holders will be out in the next round anyway.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of people are saying that, but I've got a feeling that Man United will beat Arsenal.
No chance.
Remember that? Do you remember when those two teams were drawn? I think it was the quarter or semi-finals in the late 70s, early 80s, and they played around 5 games.
Yeah.
There was about 4 or 5 replays.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man United won it. Yeah. So it's quite crazy now the way that they've done.
It is.
But right, it is the quiz time. Remember we did the Mount Rushmore a few weeks ago.
There we go.
Uh-huh.
And listening back, I quite like what I've done there. So I've got a couple of things for you. I've been looking at the biggest upsets in the 3rd round, right? Because obviously that's the round we're at now. Just before I do, Chris,
did have some, yeah.
You have been beaten, and I'm not being funny when I say this, by Altrincham and Kidderminster, both at the time non-league clubs, right?
Yeah, I was at both
Were
of
they
them,
in the 3rd round? I don't recall them being.
I'm not sure they were in the 3rd round.
Google it.
Altrincham wasn't it? I think I'm not about kidding.
Was that a replay? Because I remember that being a midweek game.
It was on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, and I didn't know the score until I picked up the paper the next day.
6,500, I think it was.
Well, we all had crowds like that in those days, didn't we?
Days they were, yeah.
Those were the days when 8,000 turned up. And when Teale started playing for the Villa, that went down by about 3,000.
Yeah.
Didn't Villa get beat at Wickham in the 3rd round?
No, but didn't we go out to Stevenage a few years ago in the 3rd round?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
We did. But what I've done is I've picked out some of the biggest upsets, right? And I want you to tell me, I'll give you the score.
Okay.
I want you to tell me the year.
Oh goodness gracious.
And whoever's closest will win.
Got that up.
Right? You get on Google. I'm going to say these really quickly.
Okay.
So, Sutton United 2, Coventry City 1. Stop looking.
No, I tell you, I haven't got the dates. I haven't got the
Okay.
dates. I've got the upsets, but I haven't got the dates on them.
Teale?
I would think that's about 91.
Yeah, I think it's either 90 or 89. I'll go for 90.
Okay, Chris is closest. It was 1989.
Was it? Oh, right, okay.
And what made that even more special was about 18 months before, Coventry had won the FA Cup.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think this is the most famous one. So this is a two-part question on this
Hereford?
one. Oh, stop. He's got there first, right?
72.
Okay. Are you looking?
No.
Okay, right. So, Teale, would you have known that 1972 Hereford 2, Newcastle 1?
I loved it.
I'd have remembered the game, but I wouldn't have known what year it was.
Ronnie Radford, but nobody.
Ronnie Radford, yeah.
Nobody remembers the person who scored the winning goal.
So was Radford's the equaliser or the first goal? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, I was too young, but you two would have been in your prime.
Great game.
Right. So, okay then. Right. There's a two-parter to this one. Right. Since you gave me the answer before I even give the question out. Right. Who was the commentator that day?
Well,
It was one of his first games, apparently.
Oh, really? I'll go for Motson then.
Okay. Who are you saying, Teale?
Tony Gubber.
Well, that's a good one. It was John Motson.
Was it?
Yeah. And what was, if you remember this, right, you really are an anorak like I am.
Am I winning this competition, by the way?
You are?
Am I winning this competition?
Yes, you are winning this
I'm
competition.
glad we had money on it.
Which is the only time a Blues fan has done that over a Villa player for years. Right, so what attire, what clothing, right?
He had a sheepskin coat on.
No, I'm not talking about Motson.
Oh, right.
What were the fans wearing? A lot of the fans were wearing them on that day. It became synonymous.
It's got to be flares, isn't it?
Oh, of course it would have been flares, but I'm on the top half.
Scarves on the wrists, wasn't it?
Yeah, right. Come on.
there,
Let's give Teale a chance.
They didn't have them jumpers on with stars on, did they?
No, Parkers.
Oh yeah, your Parkers.
Oh, right.
Wearing Parkers.
Yeah.
That was a
penny
big,
collar shirts. And jumbo collars,
that was a big one for that one. Right, a couple for one in the two. Well, there's a couple here from the 21st century. So Shrewsbury 2, Everton 1. Yeah. I remember it. But, I'm quite good with years. I couldn't have told you this year. So...
2004.
Mr. Browne?
I'll go 2000.
Okay. Teale, you are closer. The closest. 2003.
Ooh. Same year Berska beat Tamworth in the FA Trophy.
Well, that's right. And I don't think we're going to have time to come on to that today. But
trust you.
But we will be. We will get onto that one. In fact, we'll do it on the next one, right?
Okay.
Right, got a couple more for you. West Brom 2, Woking 4.
Oh, that wasn't that long ago, I think.
Okay, I'll give you a...
2016.
2012.
Well out, both of you.
Really?
1991.
No.
Oh, my word.
God.
1991, that was. Here's one from the 21st century again. I don't remember this one, but obviously Burnley at the time were probably a third division club. Burnley 1, Liverpool 0.
Ooh.
I'll go
2011.
I'll go 2003.
Browne is closer, 2005.
Oh, right.
Right. I've got two more for you. Right. Man United 0, Leeds 1. Now, I think Leeds were a third division club in old money.
Ooh.
We're playing third tier at the time.
Wouldn't have been
It's the 21st century.
2005.
2008.
Teale's closer, 2010. Right, and the last one, which is probably the second most famous after Hereford, and I remember watching this on the TV. You were playing for the Villa at the time. Wrexham 2, Arsenal 1 at the race.
I knew you were going to say that.
Right, what year was that one?
Is this 21st? As well?
No.
No.
93.
I'll go 98.
Teale's closer. He's come up on the near side on this one, mate.
Again,
1992.
Right.
Bonus.
The reason I won that was because you said I was at the Villa, and in 98 I wasn't at the Villa.
I'm not giving him a...
Bonus points.
I know, absolutely. Right,
Not this game.
One last one on that one. Who scored the free kick? Oh, come on, guys.
Mickey Thomas.
Correct. Mickey Thomas got it.
Oh, yeah. What a goal. Yeah.
And he was on the BBC this week when they did the draw. God, he looks so well. Looks so well, considering he started in the 70s.
Yeah, Mickey Thomas came to Everton when I was an apprentice at Everton.
Yeah, good player.
Great lad.
Yeah, good solid player.
Little ratter, I think.
Right, that brings us to the end of show 5. Can't believe we're saying that. Right, so show 6 will be our last one of the year, which will be 2 weeks. I want to base it on the Christmas period for footballers. So, from a family point of view as well as the footballer. So we're going to get Carol Teale on the call. Now you'll find out who the real boss is out in this family. Trust me. So Lady Teale will be coming on. We'll try to get Nathan on as well, because he'd be good for one of your kids.
No, don't get Nathan on.
Oh, he keeps on asking me.
Oh, tell him to get lost.
You've got to tell him no then. Lost. Honestly.
He wouldn't even remember.
I know, but he keeps on asking me to come on, and I go, yeah. I'll do that.
Turn up his profile.
So we'll do that. I'm going to get Claire on as well. Going to get Claire on for it, so the girls can take over for 10 minutes while we just have a beer on the video.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, we'll do it that way. So we'll talk around, the Christmas period as a fan, as a family member, and obviously as a player as well. So we'll find out exactly what goes on in the build up to that. And we'll also talk about your FA trophy as well.
Okay.
From 2003. We've just run out of time now. Okay, guys, another great show.
Excellent.
Chris, I know you're going to magically put all this together for us.
I certainly am. I'm going to make you look good once again.
Absolutely. But what about...
That must take hours.
Can you work miracles on that?
No, that's lost cause.
Right, who you got the weekend?
We have got Barnsley.
You have. You're away, aren't you?
Barnsley,
We've got Southampton.
Yeah.
You're selling our books, aren't you?
Yes. I'm doing a little stint with Tony Denny in the lower grounds.
Absolutely. So we got Mr. Teale, who's a great friend of ours, and of course Simon Goodyear, who's my agent. So I'll go to him. Mr. 5%. Yep. So I know you're meeting those guys. So that'll be good. Make sure you're earning me lots of money. Because
they've done the good thing again, Rob. They've put me and Tony both working down in there for the. Oh,
brilliant. Was that Hannah that did that?
Yeah. So that's where we are. All before kick-off anyway.
Great. And I need the money because it's actually Claire's 50th on Saturday. So I've got to continue being nice to her and being good to her. So I'm taking her to London.
And then on Sunday you go back to normal.
Shaun, drop a few in the bargain bucket in Wilco's.
And for those people that can't sleep as well,
what
do doorstops? So absolutely. Right, well, have a good couple of weeks, guys. As we say, it's going to be our Christmas one, our 6th one, our final one of 2024, but we've got lots to do in 2025. So have a great week, guys, and I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers, Rob. Good night, everyone.
Komm schon, schönes Mädchen.